Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mystery Writer speaking, and welcome to the show. So, this is the second of my Battlebots reviews, which is going to be covering the third episode. So, episode 3 was an interesting roller coaster of emotions. We had highs, we had lows, we had a little bit of everything. We had innovation, we had excitement, we had disappointment. Yep. Well, episode 3 had a grand total of 7 fights. 8 fights, including the Science Channel fight that will be premiering on Wednesday. I haven't seen that one yet. I mean, obviously, no one's seen that one yet. But for this review, we're just covering the fights that were premiered on Discovery. Now, the first fight was Scorpios versus a robot that I've really been looking forward to. I put it on my number 3 spot for the top 10 new robots coming to Battlebots in 2019, Copperhead. I've been following this team on Facebook and YouTube, especially on the Robert Cohen YouTube channel. The fight ultimately went to Scorpios because I'm not sure if this was Scorpios' doing, but Copperhead stopped working. And there was even one point in where Scorpios actually flipped Copperhead over. It was actually a really funny sight. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, Copperhead ended up on its head. It was upside down, couldn't go anywhere. It stopped working, even though the weapon was still working. And there's still some kinks that need to be ironed out in Copperhead, but it still looks like a fairly good contender overall. Just iron out some kinks, it should be fine. And Scorpios is looking really good. Then again, that robot could always take a beating and keep on ticking. And now it's time for the real first disappointing fight of 2019 Battlebots. It's Bloodsport versus Lucky. Oh, Lucky. You're such a good robot. You're such a lovable robot. You're a lovable team. You're one of those teams that people really want to see succeed. Lucky. I hope you do better. I really do. Because this was not their best showing. And Bloodsport is one of those robots that, honestly, despite the fact that Kenny and Chris really hyped this robot up and detailed some of the background information of the team and where they competed against the in-game team a few times in the past, this was a robot that I was not looking forward to. It just doesn't look that intimidating, although the bar weapon does look pretty good, I will admit that. But overall, it's a design that we've seen before. So there really isn't a whole lot to this fight. That's just it. If you're a fan of robots actively avoiding each other, then this is the fight for you. This is a lackluster fight if I ever seen one in my life. There was only really one highlight to this fight, and that was when Bloodsport ripped the wedge right off of Lucky. And then that was it. That was really the only real highlight. The rest of the fight was either Lucky trying to avoid Bloodsport, or Bloodsport's weapon wasn't working, and it trying to avoid Lucky. There were just long periods of time in where Bloodsport's weapon just wasn't spinning. Not sure if it wasn't working properly, or it just takes a while for it to spin up, but overall, this was just a lackluster fight. And now all aboard the hype train! It's Hydra versus Freeshipping. Now, obviously, Freeshipping is a fan favorite, although I'm probably in the minority that I was never really that much of a fan of Freeshipping. Although I will admit, Freeshipping has been a part of some of the best fights of 2018. It's that enjoyable of a robot. I'm not a big fan of it, but I can see its entertainment value. And then we got Hydra, which is from the Waiachi team. Apparently the Waiachi team split up into 3 groups. And this is from, I believe it's from the youngest brother? I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. The Battlebots crew was really trying to hype up Hydra. Again, Hydra is one of those robots that, I mean, yeah, I saw it. I saw it announced, and yeah, it's from a really good team, but it wasn't one of those robots that I was really looking forward to. And then I hear that it's a hydraulic flipper. This is interesting for me because my father explained that hydraulics would be better for a flipper weapon. At the time, I didn't believe him. But after seeing this fight, I'm like, wow. Okay, so apparently I should have listened to my engineering father. Because hydraulic flippers definitely seem to be powerful. For the first half of the match, Freeshipping was on top, pushing Hydra around, using the flames, was just aggressive all over the place. Definitely was doing a good job pushing it around. That was until they drove up the wedge of Hydra, and then the next thing you know, Freeshipping was in the air. You're just sitting there, and you're like, whoa. And all it took for Hydra to get the win was 2 flips. 2 successful flips. And Freeshipping was on its back, couldn't self-right, and was counted out. That was a really good fight. And Hydra, I can believe the hype around Hydra now. Hydra is looking great. And now on to the second disappointing fight of the night. Which is kind of a shame because Battlebots really hyped this fight up. I mean, they spent like a good 10, 15 minutes and even a commercial break hyping this battle up. And then it was just over. It was over in 20, 30 seconds. Maybe even less than that. It was over before everyone knew it. It was Monsoon versus Ragnarok. Ragnarok is one of those robots that a lot of people online were looking forward to because of how beautiful it is. I mean, it has such a great golden paint job. The axe looks strong. And the team even made a specialized axe head spear thingy to pierce the plastic armor on top of Monsoon. However, Monsoon had apparently saw this. Well, they didn't really see the spearhead because the other team kept it top secret. And so they were anticipating the axe attack, so they decided to go with a hard ox cover instead. And yet neither one of those things came into play because 2 hits from Monsoon's weapon and Ragnarok was on its back and couldn't self-right. Monsoon even tried to help him back up, but couldn't succeed. So, yeah, this was just a really disappointing fight. Alright, this next fight could have been a disappointing fight because it just didn't last very long. But it was an entertaining fight. Why? Well, multiple reasons. One, the 2 teams came in with kitchen equipment. Yes, right, they came in with kitchen equipment. While they're posing around their robots in Farouk's introductions, one of the teams were holding an egg whisk, and the other one was holding a mixer. A mixer and a bowl. I'm like, what's going on? It's Mad Catter versus Railgun Max! Railgun Max is the second of the 2 Chinese entries this year, and Mad Catter is a robot that I've been looking forward to just by how insane it looks. And here's another reason why this fight was not disappointing. The overall humbleness of the Chinese team and the absolute over-the-top personality of the Mad Catter team captain. My gosh, I can listen to that guy all day. He reminds me of Robot Wars Extreme Warriors days. That's what he reminds me of. He's just that entertaining. I mean, again, the fight was over in about 20 seconds because Railgun Max split Mad Catter apart after, like, what, 2 or 3 hits? And yet, Mad Catter was still trying to work. One of the forks was working on one part of the robot, and the axe was trying to work on the bigger part of the robot. Yeah, but overall, this was an entertaining fight just because of the characters involved. I loved it. Now, speaking of robots that I've been looking forward to, this is Breaker Box versus Falcon. Falcon is the third and final robot from the Raiachi team, and this is the only one that actually has just one team member on it. I believe he's the second oldest, I want to say. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And then we got Breaker Box. Again, a robot that I've been really looking forward to because it's from Team Nightmare. This robot is notoriously infamous in the robo games field because it's just that good of a robot. It's a durable machine, and that definitely showed in this fight because there was definitely some considerable damage done by the drum, or I'm just going to say drum because Falcon, while it technically has 2 drums on either side of the robot, really only got one of the drums in play. They put a really nasty dent in the front and the face of Breaker Box Wedge, sending it into the air in a triple somersault of some kind. It was a whole lot of fun. But the fight was mostly just Breaker Box pushing Falcon around like it was nothing. Yeah, towards the end, Breaker Box was definitely having some difficulty moving around, but Falcon never really seemed to get going in the driving department, not at least until it started running upside down. It went to a judge's decision, and it ultimately went to Breaker Box. I agree with this decision, because Breaker Box was definitely the more controlled robot, the more aggressive robot. Definitely tried to use the weapon more. I mean, yeah, Falcon definitely tried to get in some last-second hits, but overall, I believe the judges, while it was a split decision, I might add, they made the right decision. And finally, a main event! Bite Force, the returning champion, versus the Alaskan assassin, Yeti! The fight was entertaining. Bite Force came in, did a few hits, broke some of the forks, ripped off a chain from one of the forks. I thought the chains on Yeti seemed a little too exposed. But anyways, Yeti lasted the full 3 minutes. And Bite Force, while they did manage to flip him over, and Yeti ended up doing a 360 around the floor on its back because he just couldn't drive straight. Again, it ended up going to a judge's decision, and the judge's decision went with Bite Force, which I agree with. Overall, the fight was great. Both teams went in, did their best. I mean, yes, Bite Force did a lot more damage to Yeti, but I have to say, in terms of driving ability, it was about the same. The team captain from Team Yeti did a very good job, especially since they got the fork, their last remaining fork, in some of the holes on Bite Force's bodywork, and just started pushing them around. There was one part in where I thought they were going to end up having to stop the fight and pull them apart. All right, well, that has been my review. This was, like I said, a roller coaster of an episode. I mean, we had one that was just a lackluster fight where both robots were just actively avoiding each other. And we had one fight that was over after so much hype. But overall, this was a great episode. All right, so that has been this episode for today. And until next time, Sayonara!